Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram.
Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram.
Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar,
Ramsuratkumar Jaya Guru Raya
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar Yogi Ramsuratkumar Yogi Ramsuratkumar Jaya Guru Raya
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Rama 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 Ram Rama 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 Ram Rama 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 Ram Rama Rama Ram Rama 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 Ram Rama Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar,
Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram. Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram, Rama Rama Ram. Rama Ram, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. This is one more day. We have all met again. The evening twilight time, the evening Sandhyakal, as they call it, where the day meets the night. And we have been blessed specially with the fortune of singing his powerful name for 1 hour as Sankirtan in celebration of his grace. With deep gratitude, we have offered the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Every day morning, as you get up, just remember it's a new day given as a very gift of grace by the Divine. 24 hours to all equally, without any partiality. And Bhagwan, every day, early morning, would make us sing his name for 1 hour. He is starting the day for us with his Nama. Now it's up to us to fill up the whole day with his Nama and Seva. I call it Nama lotuses. What could be better than this? The lotuses that we find in nature, you have to go in search of and find only in specific places. And it's with great difficulty you have to pluck them. They are beautiful, yes. But then, these Nama lotuses, they are more powerful, and you can do it wherever you stay. You don't have to go in search of it. It's there right inside you. You just have to recite it. And the Nama flowers into your lotus. And offering this Nama lotus at the lotus feet of Bhagwan is a better puja, is the best puja. You don't go into any difficulties. And we all know that it has been prescribed by Bhagwan. And so it's powerful, and Bhagwan also has spoken that every Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama that we chant not only benefits the chanter and the people around and the world, it also helps his father's cosmic work. So you see, chanting the name is at once tapas and seva. It is japa and seva. And now, what about the seva lotuses? That can also be a lotus. Whatever you offer, something that's beautiful and that comes from the depth of yours. We say the heart is in the form of a lotus. Some of us have seen that, like a lotus bud, which is seen generally downward in people who have not been awakened. But once it is awakened, it turns up and begins to flower. So it's a heart lotus. And when we offer the Nama lotus from the heart lotus at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, what a tremendous puja it should be, and how dear it should be to his heart. And now again, offering, even going in search of lotuses in the lotus pond, and bringing them, yes, it's a good puja, but then whatever work that falls into your hand, whether you be in a house or in an ashram or in a temple or in a forest or in a foreign country, the minute you think it is seva to Bhagwan, the work becomes worship. And then it becomes the work lotus, the seva lotus. Because the work flowers into a lotus the minute you offer it mentally to Bhagwan. So it becomes seva lotus. So along with Nama lotuses, if you could offer every work that falls into your hand, wherever you are, and you do it in the spirit of surrender to Him, as an offering to Him, it becomes a seva lotus. And Bhagwan would be immersed. He would be drowned in your heart lotuses. The Nama lotus and the seva lotus that you offer would be most dear to Him. He has given us a beautiful Nama, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and we all know how we benefit from it. The help, guidance and protection. So many people, thousands of people live by His name. And so let us remember this, that Bhagwan gives us every day morning 24 hours ahead and equally to all. And He is also starting the day with His auspicious, powerful name. And it is up to us to fill up the days with the Nama lotuses and the seva lotuses. But then we should remember, when does the Nama become a lotus? When you chant the name, it is done by the tongue. And the tongue should not wander in any abusive way. The tongue that chants the name should not speak ill of people, should not find fault with people, should not pick up fights with people. Then the Nama offered by the tongue flowers into a lotus, fit only for Bhagwan. Similarly, when you do the seva, when does seva become a lotus? When you do it in the spirit of surrender, when you do it in humility and harmony with people around, and when you offer it from your heart lotus, it becomes seva lotus. When you do yajna, when you do the sacrificial fires, you have to collect so many ingredients, and then you have to call the right people to chant the mantras in the right way. And after all these difficulties, if there are any obstacles or some lapses in the conduct of the sacrificial fire, you get to lose the fruit of the whole sacrificial fire, the yajna. Any sadhana for that matter, even going into deep meditation, there's a possibility that some impurity in the mind might trigger some imbalance in the mind, and there is always the danger of derangement unless you do your chakra meditation under the watchful eyes of your Guru. But when you chant the Nama, it is absolutely harmless. It's a very beautiful offering from the lotus heart to the lotus feet of Bhagwan. And Bhagwan, who has given this beautiful Nama, has built a beautiful ashram for all of us. Just see how beautiful it is. The vast spaces. I used to sit near Bhagwan and watch him at work when this ashram was being created. How much hard work he was doing. The decline in his health happened because of his constant work, hard work, in creating this ashram. So as his health declined, this ashram grew in proportion. I often think that the ashram is today's form of Bhagwan. As you enter, as you walk towards the ashram, your body is doing tapas. As you enter the ashram, it is like touching the body of Bhagwan. And everywhere, the soil of the ashram, Bhagwan had set his lotus feet. It has all been sanctified soil. He had been moving around, and the very air of the ashram, I would call the breath of Bhagwan. And we are breathing that. Every bit of the ashram has something or the other to convey about Bhagwan. Such beautiful stories have happened in this place. It's a holy place that Bhagwan called the whole ashram a meditation hall. When they allotted a small room, when they were building that big, this upper hall for meditation, and when I went there and saw it and came back and reported to Bhagwan, Bhagwan's a huge meditation hall. He said, there is only one meditation hall? You call only one big room a meditation hall? He got angry. He said the whole ashram is meditation hall. Wherever people would sit, they could see their mind converging on my father. Such is the glory of this ashram, and this Pradhan Mandir particularly is filled with this beautiful energy. You cannot help noticing it as soon as you enter, how the mind becomes quiet. Even the conversations that we make here, they are being done in the Shakti of Bhagwan here, and therefore you would be surprised at the consequences of the conversation that take place. I remember once that a couple had come from America, and they were saying that in their ashram, a particularly important person was suddenly missing. They all felt very keenly his absence because he was a very dedicated person. That he should leave all of a sudden without any information. What must have pained him? What could be the reason? And they were all wishing and praying to Bhagwan that he should return. I said, now we are sitting right in front of Bhagwan and talking about this. Bhagwan is listening to every bit of this conversation. He will definitely do something, and that sooner than later. And they also felt very happy. And within a week's time, there came the news from them that the person had returned. And what was more, he said, he visited a few ashrams and he found this was the best among them. Just see, anything that takes place in this Pradhan Mandir is being watched by Bhagwan. Bhagwan used to say, everyone who enters this ashram is in his view directly. Which means, no matter what problems you carry with you, as you enter, he becomes aware of it and he starts working on them without your having to ask. I remember yesterday evening we had a satsang here. Always after this satsang, we will continue the satsang. I would ask people around to ask some questions and trigger a topic. Yesterday, a devotee asked me, what does it mean to grow spiritually? So I was telling him that when you keep on chanting the name, when you keep on offering the Nama flowers, the Nama lotuses and the Seva lotuses, you begin to become sattvic, more and more sattvic. We have this tamas, rajas and sattva in all of us, in different proportions. That's why the mind that goes through the day is sometimes tamasic, sometimes rajasic, and sometimes sattvic. When the mind becomes sattvic, immediately you sit quietly in one place and concentrate on God, in whichever way you like, by chanting the name, or by going into deep meditation, or doing Atma Vichara. When the mind becomes rajasic, it is very natural. Then you become very active. You have to get up and do something. So then you do it as seva to him, offering all your actions as flowers to him. So they are action flowers, action lotuses, the seva lotuses. Otherwise, you will get engaged in this thing and that thing and this activity, that activity. And so many of them, you would get completely lost in it. And of course, it's okay, it's all activity. It is better than being tamasic. But then if you are not connecting it to God, if you are not doing your actions in the spirit of surrender, then what is the use? If you do it as an offering to God, it becomes action lotus. What can be a better lotus than this action? So, and tamasic, of course, you feel very lazy, you don't want to get up so early, you always think, okay, there's always the next day, maybe tomorrow I will get up early. Just this day, let me indulge a little, go back to sleep, and then before you wake up 2 hours would have passed. You wouldn't even be aware of it. Laziness is number one enemy to a sadhak. So these tamas, rajas and sattva, they are in us in different proportions, in different people, and we act accordingly. So I told this devotee, the sadhana that we do, the sadhana of Nama chanting, offering Nama lotuses and Seva lotuses, action lotuses, must improve our mentality, our attitude to life. We must slowly become sattvic. What does it mean to become sattvic? There will be less anger, less fear, less jealousy, less sorrow over matters, and less and less and less desires for worldly things. Because this kama, the passion, krodha, the anger, lobha, attachment to money and worldly things, possessions, moha. Moha is desire. All these are dirt of the mind, and only by remembering God we can remove them. And what could be better than remembering the name? Remembering the name is remembering God. This was Bhagwan said. Whatever I have been saying is only from Bhagwan. It is what he taught me. So I said, becoming more and more sattvic is the aim. This is what is growing spiritually. So as I was explaining the sattvic mood, suddenly a child came and stood near me, a beautiful girl with a beautiful smile, somewhat shy. And then it was very delightful to have her with me. And then I asked her slowly, "What is your name?" She smiled shyly and said, "Satvika." Just see, when we were talking about becoming sattvic, how the sadhana must slowly lead us to the sattvic moods. This girl appears all of a sudden with her father, and she tells me her name is Satvika. This is an indication, a blessing from Bhagwan, and it is an assurance from Bhagwan that His grace is there to make us all sattvic. It's only when you become a sattvic instrument, you can be a fine instrument in His hands. Bhagwan will begin to work directly through you. Instead of picking up fights outside, instead of finding faults with others, instead of abusing people with a tongue that chants the name, you try to become sattvic. The Nama chanting, offering the Nama lotuses, offering the Seva lotuses, must necessarily make you sattvic. Your longing for God must grow. I remember the story of Rabia. I was telling those people yesterday. She was sold as a slave to somebody, a merchant. But then she was all the time immersed in God. Finally, the merchant got frightened and let her free. And then she went and joined. She was put in something like a ladies' hostel. And there the women were all of different types, and they were all the time quarreling with each other, competing with each other, quarreling with each other. But Rabia was very different. She would do every work that was given to her without any objection. At the same time, she kept smiling. And she would not pick up quarrel with anybody. So the women were surprised. And they asked her, "How is that? You never fight with anybody? And you keep smiling all the time." She said, "Oh, I have no time for quarreling with people. I'm so busy with God." This is becoming sattvic. This is being sattvic. This is progress, spiritual progress. You will see how you become fearless, angerless, griefless, and desireless. When you become desireless, there will be only peace. So, just see, as I was explaining all this little girl sent by Bhagwan with her father should come near me and declare that her name is Satvika. This is a blessing from Bhagwan directly, an indication that He is listening to all our conversations. He is listening to our thoughts also, because the thoughts have noise which is luckily not heard by us. It's beyond the human ears. But Bhagwan can listen to the sound of the crawl of an ant. So Bhagwan is listening to your thoughts. He's listening to your prayers. He's listening to your conversations all the time, especially people who chant the name all the time. So let us remember, recall all this to our mind again and again until they are well digested by us and turn into our Atma Shakti. We shall now offer in this powerful shrine the prayers that we have to make daily. I keep telling people, please stay back for the prayers. You join these prayers because these prayers are very important for the world. And these prayers, please believe me, they came from him. The first prayer is, of course, we can only beg, and that we do a million times to Bhagwan for his immediate divine intervention to bring forth to the world a dharmic normalcy in every aspect of life, where there is now growing violence, disharmony, faithlessness, and of course war with all its atrocities, and the sudden attacks of new and cruel diseases, not to mention the furies of nature like forest fire, earthquakes and flash floods and whatnot. Only Bhagwan, who always said, I am the cosmic controller, I run the whole cosmos. Sometimes he would suddenly declare, he would be in a state of trance and then he would start declaring. We appeal to you, Bhagwan, to your generosity, your kripa, that you bring in peace, harmony, order, and growing friendship and brotherhood, mutual help and understanding, and above all, control over the diseases and control over the violence of nature. We also beg you to uproot all the negativities, negative thinking of the human minds which are responsible for today's world as it is. We beg you again to reach out to all those people belonging to different countries, in varied places, stranded, unable to get help or protection for some reason or the other. They may belong to different religions and speak different languages. We beg you to do the needful for them. We also beg you to help and protect all those unselfish people who have been slogging for the sake of the others from thoughtless, misplaced reproaches, unhealthy abuse, and aspersion. We beg you again to promote the economy of the country and the growth in varied fields of activity, which include science and technology, arts and culture, and above all, spirituality, so that India reaches its true status, the world teacher, Vishwaguru, to conduct the whole world in the path of Dharma, as predicted by the great souls, the great masters over the years. We also pray to you in all earnestness and sincerity for ceaseless chanting of your powerful name and unbroken remembrance of your leelas and teachings, so that our being could digest it and make it into our Atma Shakti. Bhagwan, please bless us to be only sattvic instruments in your hands, and that we run our everyday life as an offering to you, not be caught by the temptations of Maya. We seek that ultimate state of being, the state of bliss and peace in all your infinite glory. But then we need to be purified. We need to be free from fear, anger, jealousy, and passion, self-pride and whatnot, for which we take refuge in your powerful Nama and its ceaseless chanting. We take refuge in joyful service without any unhealthy competition or jealousy, and that in the spirit of surrender to you. Then only our Nama chanting and Seva actions can become Atma Shakti, the divine power inside us that would bring about the transformation that we need so badly. And above all, please bless us to practice acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow, as Ashirvad, a blessing from you. How can we accept it? It's only when you think that it's a blessing from God, you will be able to accept it. And of course, it is true that it's a blessing meant for our spiritual transformation, meant for our closer kinship with God. There are great masters like Tulsidas who say that look upon worldly matters, worldly desires, worldly gossip as poison. It's only when you look upon them as poison, you will avoid it. Similarly, when life brings to you a great sorrow, look upon it as a blessing. We have to constantly adopt this attitude towards worldly matters and the sorrows of life, to avoid the poison of worldliness and to look upon every suffering as a blessing from God meant for our spiritual growth. Then as we get more and more purified, we would be able to see the living, vibrant presence of God everywhere and in everything. Bhagavan, please bless us to be able to see your sankalpa, your will, behind all the happenings of life, all the happenings of the world, and more importantly, to be able to detect that hidden grace which resides even in the most disastrous sufferings of life. Instead of becoming bitter and starting to blame others for our own failures, little realizing that it's we who invited our own troubles by our past karmas, we begin to resent God and try to move away, but Bhagwan has promised us, those who chant the Nama, those who offer the Nama lotuses and the Seva lotuses, my Father would change the difficulties of life into great blessings. Bhagavan, please bless us to be grateful to you always, even for the adversities of life. And we seek your blessings for all the species of the cosmos, in whatever state of misery they are, to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we who have been seeking only solutions to our problems of life, seek dissolution of the root cause, which is our identification of the body, our identity, the body identity, the I, the ego mind, which rule all our lives. So only when we are free from this, we can be free from the vicious cycle of births and deaths. Let us all pray together to Bhagavan to be blessed with that immortal life, that immortal living and immortal servitude to that supreme, eternal, cosmic power. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.